right. Welcome everybody to the Financial Church. It's Julian Gordon here. Excited to have you. I'm just getting IG, all the folks on IG live ready. Posting this link here. If you're joining us on IG, go ahead and go to go to juliangordon.com/TFC. Let me pin that. That is pinned. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Good to see you here this Sunday. I got a great teaching for you, or treaching as we call them here. And we're going to get it in. All right. Good. So welcome to everybody on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, you can join us at juliangordon.com/TFC, juliangordon.com/TFC. That's where you'll be able to see my slides. I do a lot of visual teaching, and so I don't want you to miss out on the richness of everything that we're sharing here in the Financial Church. If you don't know what the Financial Church is, I'm going to get into it in just a second. But excited to have you here. Glad I showed up in your feed at this moment in time because you were about to experience something really powerful. I've been excited to do this particular teaching for a while. We just finished our series on About My Father's Business, on how to find your purpose and your passion and do God's work. And so now we are stepping into a teaching on faith and how to hear God more clearly, So welcome again, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. Real quick, for those of you who are here in Zoom, did the email reminder come out this week? Been having a little bit of issues with our system, our email system lately. Did you get the email reminder this week? Let me know on Zoom. Did it come? Okay, good. It came today. Good. Glad to hear that. All right, cool. So I'm going to share my screen, excuse me, and we're going to get started. Share. Please confirm that you can see my screen. Again, if you are joining us on Instagram, you're going to want to go to juliangordon.com/TFC to see the slides that I'm teaching from. We call it teaching here. It's a mixture of teaching and preaching. Don't want to just leave you on some spiritual high with no tangible tools to use to execute and make your upcoming week a strong one. We don't like to call it weeks here. We like to call them strongs here. We like to move into our week strong. All right. So good. Welcome everybody. So today is September 13th, Sunday, September 13th, 2020. And our teaching today, or our preaching today, is on faith it until you make it. Faith it until you make it. I know you heard the quote, fake it until you make it. And a lot of people take that approach when it comes to trying to manifest at a higher level. But we're going to talk about how to hear God, how to navigate uncertainty in any area of your life, and how to faith it until you make it. Of course, we are in the midst of the coronavirus, a global pandemic that has thrown a lot of people for a loop. But in the midst of uncertainty, you want to still be able to have confidence because you know the source of your supply. You know your GPS system or your God positioning system is always locked in, and that you can always tap into it whenever you desire. And so this is what the same source that we want to tap into as we navigate this uncertainty that we are all facing here and now. There are some people who cannot stand uncertainty. They need everything planned out. And these are typically people who follow the traditional American dream or just the linear timeline of life. Be good, get good grades, go to a good school, get a good job, right? They just want this certainty. Go K through 12, then go to college, then go to graduate school, then go to get this job and stay there and do this. Like, there's some people who just want that kind of certainty. Get married and be certain about the person that you're going to be with, and your career path, be certain about that. And your spiritual source, however you define that, be certain about that, even though you don't know everything. This is where faith gets used in the wrong way. When we talk about blind faith, our Creator does not want us to be blind. When you look at Jesus's healings, Jesus healed the blind, right? So our Creator doesn't want us to actually be blind. He wants to know the actual laws that are at play. Yes, the universal laws that are at play, they are unseen, Okay, they're unseen, just like gravity is unseen, but our creator does not want us to be blind to those laws. In fact, if we just tap within and we go within, we can actually start to understand those laws. And when we understand them, we can use them to manifest at a higher level and create more good on earth and more God on earth and create heaven on earth, which is what we are all called to do. All right. So with that, I want to explain really quickly for the newbies. In chat, please let me know if you are new, and please type vet if you are a vet. Let me know in chat if you're new, type new. If you're a vet, type vet. All right, we got a lot of veterans here, returnees, meaning that we're doing something right here. And if people are coming back week by week by week, and really I don't do too much marketing for this, we are actually leveraging the law of attraction or the law of correspondence to attract who is meant to hear this message. So if you're here, right now, there's a reason for that. And so I'm grateful to have you here. So we got a lot of vets here today, and I'm glad to see you all here again. Okay, so just to clarify, we want to start with financial spirituality and how we define it. Financial spirituality is the practice of mastering manifestation and money by learning how God creates and using the power of your mind, words, thoughts, feelings, imagination, okay, we call it imagination here, prayers and works to bring heaven, which is the mind, on earth, which is our material experience, so that you may have life and have it more abundantly. So that you may have life and have it more abundantly. We must all already know that we are all already manifesting, okay? You have manifested the life that you have at this very moment in time. You have manifested it. If you don't believe that you've manifested, if you believe that you are a product of your environment, then what you're saying is that somebody else or some individual or institution or some outside force outside of you has control over how your life unfolds. And that puts you in a place of powerlessness. So in this particular teaching, we don't blame. We take full responsibility for the life that we are living right now, and we take full responsibility in our identity as creators, as children of God, as children of the Creator. We are also creators, and that we can create whatever reality that we desire. Okay, if we actually blame other people for why we aren't where we are, if we blame sexism, if we blame racism, if we blame this, we blame our parents or our third grade teacher, etc., then we've given up our power, and now we are in a place of powerlessness, and we're in victim consciousness. Right? And we do not want to reside there. So while those things may be true, while there may be other individuals, institutions, and outside forces that are trying to stop you from actually stepping into full freedom in the abundance that you, which is your birthright, we do not blame them, and we do not give them power by blaming them, because then what that's saying is that they have to change in order for me to have heaven on earth. And that if it's hard enough to change ourselves. It's hard enough to change ourselves, let alone change somebody else. So instead, we focus on changing from within, changing our belief system, changing our mindset, knowing that when we do that, then the outward experience that we have called life will unfold differently, okay? The question is are we creating deliberately, okay? If we have actually manifested the life that we have right now, are we creating deliberately, right? And have I created the experience of life that I actually desire? And so this is what we are focused on here, and learning how to master that and how to be more deliberate in our creation, all right? Now, in this particular ministry and teaching, we believe that, I believe that the Bible is the richest book ever, and it stood the test of time. It is so coded, it is deeply coded. And here at Financial Church, we break down a lot of the codes. A lot of people read the Bible literally and they take it on the surface level. And we know that it goes way beyond that, like a 7-layer dip. We don't just scratch the surface here. We go deeper into the true meanings of the parables and the metaphors and the stories that are in the Bible to draw out the universal laws and lessons that are hidden within. I have a very biblical approach to financial spirituality. But again, you do not have to be Christian to benefit from this teaching. We also know that we know that God is not Christian. We know that the Bible is not Christian, though it is used heavily by Christians. And we know that Jesus was not Christian. So given that, there's no particular religious background that you have to have. I go into this book and I pray and I ask for wisdom. And I'm able to extract and see with my third eye, which is really our first eye, the universal laws that are hidden within this book. And I bring them not only into my life to experiment first, right? I experiment with myself first, and then I bring those insights and those teachings and those results back to you, okay? So I'm not here to try to convince you to believe what I believe. This is everything that I share here in Financial Church is how I've been able to manifest at the level that I've been able to manifest. I have a long way to go. right? There are people like Elon Musk, for example, who are manifesting at a very, very high level. And so as I grow, I continue to simply just share what I'm using with you. You may take some of it and leave others of it, but I know that in this time that we have together here on Sunday, that there will be at least one thing that benefits you and helps you become a more deliberate creator in your life, okay? I also believe that Jesus is the richest man to ever walk the face of this earth. And what I mean by that is that, of course, he didn't have to have material possessions, right? Because he could manifest on demand. I don't need to carry around gold bars or heavy talents, right? Talent, which was a form of currency then. I don't need to carry that around if I know I can manifest on demand. If I can multiply these loaves and these fish on demand, why do I need to carry around or show material wealth? We saw that the quote unquote devil or Satan tempted Jesus, right? Tempted Jesus and said, here, you can have all the kingdoms. He's like, I don't need that. That's already mine. Why are you're tempting me with something that's already mine, right? That I already have dominion over. So this is really core. And so what we believe here is that, and I say this all the time, if I'm a millionaire, is my daughter a millionaire? And the answer is yes, right? If I'm a millionaire, my daughter's a millionaire. And so if we are children of the Creator, if we are children of God, and God is the infinite source of supply, then we are absolutely abundant. The only thing that's blocking us from actually accepting that as our reality is that, one, we are not aware of our identity as children of God, right? And we're not ready to receive. Many of us have been good at giving, but we have not developed a skill set of actually receiving. And it is a cyclical process. In order to give more, you have to be able to receive more. And so we need to develop both muscles, not just one, okay? Some of my core belief systems here, my core belief statements that I live by that have allowed me to manifest at the level that I'm manifesting right now. And I actually call that my internal rate of return. My internal rate of return. I think I shared this with you all last week. My internal rate of return is how quickly, when I put out economic currency, how quickly it returns back to me. How quickly it returns back to me, okay? We circulate money here. We don't spend money, okay? We try to mitigate expenses because that is money that is gone. We circulate money, right? We say, in God we trust, we release the money, right? And then we receive it back and we say, in God I trusted, okay? In God we trust, we release it. And when it comes back, we say, in God we trusted. That's how we treat this thing called currency. It's not something meant to be hoarded or held. It's called currency because it's supposed to have a current. It's supposed to flow, all right? So some of my belief statements are that I believe that as a child of God, I have access to everything that is in God's will for me to have, and I will receive it when I am ready. I seek first the kingdom of God, knowing that all things that I need will be added unto me, and I don't work for money, I work for God first. I'm about my mother, father's business, and when I am, I will have life and have it more abundantly. I believe that I'm here to manifest the divine ideas that are planted in the heaven of my mind on earth, which is my material experience. What does the Lord's Prayer say? On earth as it is in heaven, right? Okay. In our material experience as it is in the mind. And as above, so below. I believe that there is more than enough. I have more than enough, and that I am more than enough, for God is the infinite source of my supply. Okay, so those are some of my core belief statements that are the foundation for what has allowed me to create the life that I'm creating. And again, I'm always improving. I'm developing my mastery with every step and every day that I live to become even greater manifester and bringer of heaven on earth. That's what I believe all of our work is. At the highest level, all of our work is to bring heaven on earth. All of these beautiful, good ideas that we have in our mind, if we could actually just live those out on earth, then we would experience heaven on earth. And so that is all of our work, is to create that together. And so when we unplug when I here unplug one of you, then more of heaven on earth is happening, or will, like, the probability of it happening will occur here. But actually we have heaven, you can have heaven on earth in your own experience, irregardless and irrespective of outside people or conditions. And that's really where we want to get to, okay? So in Genesis 2:7, it said, the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils a breath of life, and man became a living being. So we know that we as human beings, we are actually not breathing. Do you recognize that you are not breathing? That something is breathing through you. And how do you know? Because with the exception of suicide, most of us cannot stop our breath, okay? The breath is going to come through us no matter what. So there must be something, not necessarily outside of ourselves, but that we are connected to, that is breathing through us. And so if we want to connect with the source of our supply, all we have to do is reconnect with our breath, because that is definitely an obvious connection between whatever that thing is, whatever you decide to call it, is our breath. And so here we take a moment to breathe and plug in, just like we plug in our cell phones into the wall and charge them up. This is a way that you can actually reconnect with your creator, just becoming aware of your breath. Yes, I know you're breathing. Many of you haven't even thought twice about your breath, but this is ultimately how we can connect and plug back in. Some people call it meditation. Some people just call it taking deep breaths. You do it however you do it. You connect with your creator however you connect, but I'm gonna hold the space for 30 seconds for you to connect with your creator however you define that, okay? So here, this is the language I use. We're very particular with our language here at Financial Church. And so we in heaven and we exhale. We don't inhale, right? We don't want hell in, right? We wanna in heaven, take heaven in, and then we want to exhale. And so I'm going to lead breathing exercise, but again, you have 30 seconds to connect with your creator however you do best. Perhaps that's you dancing, perhaps that's you singing, perhaps that's you doing a headstand. And it doesn't matter how you do it. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to sit still. You connect however you connect, right? So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to take breath in 4 seconds, hold for 1 second, and then release for 5. And I'm going to do that 3 times, all right? Beautiful. Good, good, good. All right. So if you are joining us on Instagram and this is your first time, you want to come over to juliangordon.com/TFC for The Financial Church. This is where you'll be able to join us on Zoom Live and you'll be able to see my slides. Today, we will be doing a teaching, and by teaching, it's a combination of teaching and preaching, and I use a lot of visuals, and the visuals anchor some of these ideas for us all. Imagery is really important, right? For God made man in its own image, right? Images are powerful, and so I encourage you to come join us over on Zoom at juliangordon.com/TFC if you want to get the full experience. But if you want to just hang out on Instagram, that is perfectly fine. All right. So let's get into it. So today's message is on faith it until you make it. Not fake it until you make it. It's on faith it until you make it. And you know, how many of you heard that before? Fake it till you make it. How many of you heard that before? And how many of you ever lived by that before? Fake it till you make it. You thought that that was the way to go, right? Right? It sounds cute. It sounds cute, right? Now, this picture is absolutely hilarious. This is somebody probably in an old hoopty who put the Mercedes-Benz logo on their steering wheel, took a plastic cup, put Starbucks coffee on it, and then made a paper watch and wrote Rolex on it, right? This is often, these kind of things started coming out when The Secret came out and about the law of attraction and things of that nature. And in this instance, this is a demonstration of somebody faking it until they make it. Now, imagery is powerful, visioning is powerful, but I want to show you that there's a subtle difference between faith in it until you make it and faking it until you make it, and why we would just want to shift over to faith in it until you make it rather than relying on faking it until we make it. Okay, so this other meme I think really captures the danger of faking it until you make it, because if you fake it until you make it, when you make it, will you be fake? If you fake it until you make it, when you make it, will you be fake? That is a very, very powerful question, because if you get in the habit of faking something, then your identity changes and you may actually get what you want, but you've actually lost yourself along the way. Remember, y'all, there are two types of success. There are two types of success, right? The first one is the one everybody focuses on, which is the destination. So if we're driving from one place to another and A is where we're at and point B is the B on the GPS, that is the destination. And most people define success as just the destination. Did I get to the destination? But here's the other most important definition of success. It's the second one that everyone overlooks. You want to know what it is? Anybody have any ideas of the second type of success that everyone overlooks? One is the destination. The other type of success that everyone overlooks is who you are en route to the destination. It is who was I en route to the destination. There are some people, as we talked about in the series on About My Father's Business, who will literally sell their soul to get to the destination. And they've reached their destination, but they've lost themselves along the way. So if you fake it until you make it, when you make it, will you be fake? Is a very poignant question, because we do not want to lose ourselves along the way. In fact, the second definition of success, who you are en route to the destination, is more important than you achieving or reaching the destination itself. Who you are and who you become en route to the destination is more powerful, because at the end of the day, college graduation, how many days does college graduation last, y'all? College graduation lasts how many days? 1 day. But if you hated who you were and what you had to do to get to that 1 day, for 4 years or 5 years, because that's the average length of time it's taking now, the 1 day will never make up for the 4 or 5 years that you were miserable. It will never make up for it, y'all. And so we have to be mindful of who we are en route to our destination. And we want to remove any fakeness. Instead, how about I just be authentic until I make it? How about I just be authentic until I make it? Because what we know in today's society is authenticity wins. Authenticity wins. And it wins either way you cut it. You want to know how you know? Cardi B. The one thing that most people loved about Cardi B was not necessarily her music. It was not her fashion or anything of that nature. What was it that people loved about Cardi B when she first came out? She was just being herself. She was being authentic. And when you are authentic in a world full of fake people, guess what? Authenticity rises to the top. Okay? Authenticity rises to the top. See, everybody's faking until they make it, and everybody's faking. So you trying to fake like somebody else who's faking it, who's trying to be like somebody else who's faking it. So everybody's faking it, and then one day the plug is going to get pulled, and you're going to see that, oh, everybody was fronting. And we see this on social media. People put up their best profile pictures and things of that nature. They put up all the highlights of their life, but they don't put up any pictures of the backstage. They put up all the highlights of their life, right? But they don't put up the backstage. And some people actually curate their profiles so much and their feeds so much that they're literally faking it, that it's not really their life. If some people's life, you know what the hope is that some people hope that their life was as good as it looked on their timeline. Some people hope that the way they're actually spending time looked as good or felt as good as their timeline looks. Okay? Now, you can't tell when you're looking in on the outside observer. The only person who can tell if they're faking it or if they're being authentic is the person who looks in the mirror. Okay? So it's not for us to judge. It is about how that individual or how you feel when you are stepping into your own body in your own skin, okay? In this flesh bag, this vehicle that we're using, this body temple that we have while we are here on earth, okay? So I want to share with you a distinction between faking it versus faith in it. The first distinction is that faking it is pretending, right? You are pretending to be something that you are not yet, okay? Hopefully you get there. But if you fake it too long, you will actually never get there, okay? Faith in it is intending, meaning that I'm setting a strong intention for something that I want that I may not be able to see with my 2 eyes at this moment in time. So faking it is pretending, whereas faith in it is intending. It's intending. Again, going within first, okay? No false pretense, okay? Then faking it is trying to go from external to internal. Faking it is trying to go from external to internal. I'm gonna fake like I have a Rolex watch. I'm gonna fake like I have a Mercedes. I'm gonna fake like I have Starbucks. and hope that somehow that kicks me into gear internally to change my identity. We know that change doesn't happen from the outside in. It doesn't happen from changing conditions. Change happens from changing our identity. That's the only way sustainable change happens, is by changing our identity. And the identity that we embrace here at the Financial Church is that we are children of God. Everything else is temporal. We can change gender today. We can change race today. We can change political party. We can change social class. Anything that can change is not your identity. The one thing that will never change about you is that you are a child of God. Faithing it, on the other hand, is going from internal to external. As above, so below, right? On earth, which is external, as it is in heaven, which is mental or internal, okay? Faking it is when you try to get all the material things, you try to look rich, okay? But faithing it is mental, meaning that you are rich, that is your identity, that you know you are wealthy. Why? Because you know whose you are. You know who you are and whose you are. So there are a lot of people who end up trying to fake it and get all the material trappings that make them look like they have it, but mentally they're actually overcompensating for a poverty consciousness. And we see this with a lot of hip hop artists all the time, okay? Now, I had this interesting thing a while ago where I made an observation. I was getting on an airplane, and I normally ride coach. You all know I'm a very simple man, and I normally ride coach. And I was walking through first class, and I just make an observation. And you know, in first class, I was typically seeing white men. And in this particular moment, as I walked through the first 5 rows of first class, I saw that all the men there were white. They had on shorts and they had on sandals. Okay, just a little observation. Okay, now if I was going to fake it and try to stimulate my mind from the outside in, then the presumption would be, okay, if I want to ride first class, then I need to wear shorts and sandals, because I was looking at the external to try to get some insight into the internal. I'm saying, okay, everybody here in first class has shorts and sandals. So if I want to be in first class one day, I should probably start wearing shorts and sandals. And I could have went and done that and faked it, and I would have not gotten result of actually being able to fly first class or the wealth abundance that might be associated with first class. Okay. So this is it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous to look at other people, right? And then try to reverse engineer the mentality that comes from the external, right? And so this is why mentorship is so important, because you get access to somebody's mind. This is why reading somebody's book is important, because they've actually poured out their mind. Reading their book and actually being mentored by them is more important than you trying to get or acquire the material things that they have, okay? So the other thing about faking it is faking it, you're usually doing it for the feeling you get from other people. People like, oh, you pull up in a Mercedes Benz, oh, that's fly, man. How you get that? What you doing? That's a nice car. And you get a little hit, like a drug addict. You get a little hit when somebody sees you. Oh, look at that Gucci purse, girl. Look at you. You know what I'm saying? You get a little hit from trying the feeling you get from other people commenting about this material thing that you acquired. But when you're faithing it, you're not doing it for other people. It's for the feeling that you get from doing it. It feels good to you. It feels good to you. It doesn't matter if it feels good, looks good to anyone else. It feels good to you. And when you do things that make the real you feel good, not the fleshly you, but the real you, the first you that was here before the flesh, okay? When you do things that make that feel good, you are basically in heaven. You are in heaven on earth. And so you want to continue to make choices that feel good to you. This whole notion of keeping up with the Joneses, that is faking it until you make it. You're chasing somebody else. You're comparing, you're competing, okay? We want to faith it until we make it. We don't want to fake it until we make it. The other thing about faking it until you make it is that when you are faking it, you're accepting the future as not true right now. You're accepting the new you as not true to who you are right now. It is somebody else. It is out there in the distant future. There's a disconnect between who you are right now and that individual. And so you feel a sense of absence. This is why you feel like you have to fake it. You have to dress the part. You're only changing the external, okay? But when you're faithing it, you know that everything comes from within. And so that new version of you, where does it exist, y'all? That new version of you, where does it exist? Where does the new version of you exist? Where does the next version of you exist? It exists inside the current you right now. Right now, it's in you as just an idea. And we ultimately want to turn it into an identity. The next version of you is in your head as an idea. It is in heaven as an idea. And now your work is to bring heaven on earth, right? And turn it into an identity, okay? So the faithing it, you're accepting the future you as true right now, right here and now. That future you is not somewhere else out there in the distant future, because we know that time doesn't really exist. There is no past, there is no future, right? Everything that you are and going to become is already inside of you, okay? It was already inside that semen that went into that egg. All of it is already in there. There's nothing missing from you, y'all. Do you know that you were made perfect, whole, and complete? That there is nothing missing? You think God makes mistakes? Everything that you are to become is already inside of you. There's nothing outside of you that you need to get or acquire to become who you were meant to become. That's what happens when you're faking it. You're trying to get all these things outside of you to try to stimulate you to becoming who you become. You don't need any of that. Okay? Just become more of who you are. Just unfold more. Okay? The other thing about faking it is visualizing. Okay? And by visualizing, I mean externalizing with your two eyes. We fake things like the Rolex, the coffee, or the car. We fake it to try to create this visual appearance, okay? But again, that is with our two eyes. But when you're faithing it, it is not your conditions and what you see with these two eyes don't matter. When you're faithing it, you are internalizing it with your third eye. You are looking within and knowing that everything that you need is already within you, regardless of what external conditions are showing you at this moment in time. We are not fazed by external conditions, okay? We are not fazed by external conditions. If I'm born into poverty, that does not mean I am poor. If I'm born into poverty, that means that I have the opportunity to show how rich I really am. If I am born into poverty, does not mean that I am poor. That's what we tend to do when we are products of our environments. We say, look, there's a lot of poverty around me. Guess what? Therefore, I must be poor. But no, if I'm born into poverty, but I know that I'm a wealthy being and abundance is my birthright, then I look at the condition of poverty and say, okay, I'm just gonna have to show this world how rich I really am. It's a completely different mindset, okay? So the other thing about faking it is you identify with something, okay? And we do this all the time. This is imposter syndrome, okay? You hide behind college degrees. I'm associating myself with Stanford. I'm associating myself with UCLA. I'm associating myself with Nike and Rolex and Jordans and Kobe Bryant and this and that and this team and this city and this group and this such and such and this class and this company. We try to identify with something. And when you're trying to identify with something, that something is usually outside of yourself. You're trying to use these false parameters and these false associations to articulate and demonstrate your credibility to other people. But when you are faithing it, you don't identify with something, you identify as something. I identify as wealthy. I identify as a child of God. I identify as a firstborn. I identify as holy. I identify as healthy. I identify as powerful. I identify as strong. Okay? This is the difference. We're not trying to identify with something outside of ourselves. We identify as something that is within us, more of a characteristic. Okay? And then finally, when you're faking it, you act as if. Okay? Acting is what actors do when they go on the TV screen or on a movie screen. They're playing a part, they're playing a role. We don't want to act as if, because once the act is done, then the real you comes back. Instead, we actually want to operate as if. When you are operating as if, right, meaning that you are moving and living, moving, and having your being as if it is true that you are wealthy, as if it is true that you are healthy, as if it is true that you are deeply in love. You are operating as if it is so, not acting. There's a difference between acting and operating. Acting is like, I'm gonna kind of pretend like this, you know, for a little bit, and then I'll just take off this mask and this costume, and then I'll be back to the real me. No, you operate as if, because when you operate in as if, then what did Jesus say? It is done unto you as you believe. You are operating as if it is possible to build a $1 million company. You are operating as if it is possible to find love in a year. You are operating as if it is possible to own 10 multifamily homes like I do. Okay, you are operating as if you can recover from whatever condition the doctor diagnosed you with. You're not acting, okay, because acting is temporary. When you are operating, then that is part of your coding. You've actually coded yourself just like an operating system. It has codes. You are operating as if. You're not acting. It's not temporary. You've actually baked it into your code that this is how I'm going to move through my life. Okay, so these are some of the core distinctions between faking it and faithing it. And it is a subtle distinction, but we actually want to, is faking it sounds cool, right? And it even looks cool because it's all external. But the only thing that really matters is what's happening internally. Yeah, and here's why. This is key, y'all. When faking it is equivalent to using a defibrillator when somebody is almost dead and unconscious, and you're trying to kick their heart back into gear, okay? Or it's when you're trying to jumpstart a car, okay? Now, in this moment, this is something external trying to give power back to the original thing, okay? Something external is needed to inject power back into the original thing, okay? Now, what do you notice about both of these conditions? What do you notice about both of these conditions? In both of these situations, what do you notice? The original thing, right? The human being and the vehicle, they are on the verge of dying or they're dead, okay? So there are only rare instances in your life where you have to rely on something external to kick you back into gear. There are only rare instances in your life when you are on your last leg, whatever they call it, it's figure of speech. When you are on your last, when you need something extra, you might need something external to actually inject power back into you, okay? But when we look at nature, everything from nature unfolds from within. Everything from nature. Look at this apple. Starts as an apple seed, then turns into the plant, the budding, then the tree, then it's bearing fruit. The butterfly, the egg, the larva, the pupa, and the adult, right? Everything in nature, which we know is in alignment with God's laws, universal laws, the unseen laws, right? And actually they're seen laws as well, okay? Everything in nature operates and unfolds from within, not without, okay? So we want to take that same principle with us and we want to faith it and not fake it, all right? So I want to share with you a framework on how you can have more faith, because if we could continuously rely on our two human eyes to dictate our future, then we're going to stay in this cycle of fear, doubt, and worry because the external conditions that we're looking at don't match what we have in the heaven of our mind. And so the only way to perceive through that is by using your third eye, which sees beyond conditions and goes to the truth of the matter. It goes to the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is that poverty is not real. The truth of the matter is that there is more food on this earth than we can even imagine to feed everyone. Poverty is a condition that we created because of what? A belief in what? Poverty is a condition that we have created as humanity because of a belief in what? Lack and scarcity. So some people believe that they need to take more out of fear and hoard rather than sharing widely. Everybody in here, you have lactose intolerance. Okay, I'm gonna type that for you. We in this community are lactose intolerant. We have no lack. Tolerant. Okay, that's a new word I'm giving y'all. We are lactose intolerant. We are intolerant to lack here. We don't believe in it whatsoever. There is more than enough. Our God will not create all 7 billion of us and not make sure that there is enough. Okay, so lactose intolerance. That's how we move out here. All right, so let me show you how to have more faith in these times of uncertainty. Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Okay, it is the evidence of the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Not seen. Okay, so what it's saying is that faith is this real substance, because substance typically is something you can feel. You can put your hand in water and feel that it is a substance. But faith is a substance of things hoped for. Okay, it's an intangible substance, right? And it's the evidence of things not seen. That evidence lies within you, right? So in this framework that I'm teaching you today, the first step to have more faith in the midst of uncertainty is to fast. The F in the word acronym faith is to fast. That is the first step to having more faith. Now, Matthew 4:1-2, then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry, and the tempter came to him and said, if you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread. Okay, so this was a practice that Jesus did before he was called to do something greater. The first thing we must know about fasting is that you fast when you were led to fast, when you were led by the Spirit to fast. Do not fast on other people's timelines, y'all. Do not fast on other people's timelines. Yep, I know this person is starting this 7-day fast challenge, etc. And I know you want to be part of the community. Nope. I know that there's Lent and things of that nature. Unless that feels right for you, you don't fast on other people's timelines. You fast when you were led to fast, not when somebody else is guilting you into fasting. Is that clear, y'all? Is that clear? All right. Now, after Jesus was fasting, the tempter, okay, it actually doesn't say the devil or Satan, the tempter, which is within, right? The tempter, which is the within, which is actually trying to take us from our highest self, our best self, to our base self. It's trying to draw us back down. The tempter is like gravity trying to draw us back down. And that tempter is within. It's not this outside figure. The devil is not some outside figure that's trying to sabotage our lives. It is the lower part of ourselves that is pulling us down from our best self. It is the internal struggle. It is the incongruent thoughts that we have inside of ourselves. Nowhere else. Okay? And so remember, when we look at the Bible from a metaphysical standpoint, this tempter is trying to tell Jesus to turn these stones to become bread. Okay? Here's the key. Stones in the Bible, okay, represent truth. They are rocks, right? They are rocks. These are truths. These are hardcore truths. When you hear about Jesus being the cornerstone, right? That is that there is Christ consciousness is actually the cornerstone. It is the truth of this entire existence that we have, right? Peter is my rock, right? On this awareness that I am, okay? Not that Jesus was, on this awareness that I am, that is the rock. I therefore call you the rock, okay? So in the Bible, the stones mean truth, right? Now, what is this tempter calling Jesus to do? Turn these stones or these truths into bread. Bread is the result of the truth, okay? It is a result that you can create. What you'll notice, when you look at a stone and a piece of bread, what do they look like, y'all? What do they look like? A stone and a piece of bread could look very similar. They could look very similar, right? So what this is saying is that once we know the truth, we are not simply just to use it for our own desires of turning it into bread. Once we know the truth of how to manifest and create heaven on earth, We are not meant to just use it to serve our own hunger and desires. Oh, I'm getting the goosebumps on that one, y'all. Once we know these universal laws, we are not to use them and manipulate them just for our own well-being. We will have well-being, but we are meant to use them for the good of all, not just to satisfy our own hungers, because Jesus was hungry. Are y'all catching that? Did y'all just catch that? I just caught it and I'm handing it down to you, okay? So what is more powerful, y'all? To know how to make $1 million or to have $1 million? What is more powerful? To know it. Knowing the truth is more powerful than manifesting it. Now, of course, we have the freedom to do both while we are here, okay? But if I give you bread, but you don't know the truth of how bread is made, right? And what do we call money? What do we call money in the hood? Let's go get this bread. Let's go get this bread. So when we know the truth of how money actually operates, we can turn it into bread. When we understand the truth of how money operates, we can turn it into bread. But we are not to be tempted to turn it into bread just for our own hunger, to satisfy our own hungers. This is why Jesus did not fall into that temptation, okay? He did not fall into that temptation, though he had fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. All right, y'all with me on that? So Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters. Either he will hate one and love the other, or you'll be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. So you have to understand, y'all, that slavery is not just man to man. Slavery is not just another one man enslaving another. Anything that you cannot say no to is your master, and you its slave. Anything that you cannot say no to is your master, and you its slave. So why is this important? Because when we are fasting, we are releasing anything that we have allowed to become a master in our lives. When we are fasting, we are releasing anything that has somehow all of a sudden become a not even all of a sudden, somehow become a master in our lives. It's just slipped up there because we weren't keeping a watch. We weren't, as the observer of our own lives, right? As the video game player, right? Remember, this body that we're in, we're more like a video game. We're like the character on the video game screen. But then there's another version of us, the true version of us, that is actually the one that's off the screen that has the controller, that can be the observer. But sometimes we get so lost in the video game, we think the video game is real. We think that the virtual reality experience of us here on earth is real, but we are actually the spirit and the mind that is above and beyond and in control of this avatar right here that we call the body and the flesh. Okay? So this is important because if we, as the observer of our own lives, don't keep watch, if we don't keep watch, and Jesus talks about this many times in the New Testament, in the Gospels, keep watch, right? Stay alert, right? When he went off to pray in the Garden of Gethsemane, the two disciples, they couldn't stay alert. They couldn't keep watch. If we don't keep watch, then what we'll see is that weeds start creeping into our lives, and we'll see that some things that were meant to be our slaves actually become masters. Okay? So again, slavery is not just man to man, y'all. You can be enslaved to money. You work for money. No, you don't work for money. I never work for money. We talked about that last week. We don't work for money here. Okay? Now we get money for the work that we do, but we don't work for money. We work for God, and money comes as a result of us creating good and God and value in this world. Okay? So again, anything that you cannot say no to is your master, and you its slave. So Matthew 6:16 through 18. When you fast, do not be somber like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces and show men they are fasting. Truly, I tell you, they already have had their full reward. But when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that your fasting will not be obvious to men, but only to your Father who is unseen. And your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. The reward of fasting, y'all, is showing God, the God in you, your sacrifice. your willingness and your reliance on it as your source. You were saying, in 2.2 seconds, I'm willing to release this, this, and this to be more in tune and more in alignment with you. Remember, we don't hustle here. We're not in the business of hustling here. That is a worldly function. We are simply trying to be in alignment. And when we allow other things beyond God to become our master, those things take us out of alignment. It doesn't matter what it is. Some people think that pornography is worse than sugar. Nope. If you have a master other than God, it's still a master. We as human beings, we judge these things. Oh, that's worse than that, and that's worse than that, and that's worse than that. Nope. Anything that is your master beyond God is not in alignment. That's it. No judgments whatsoever. We have to take everything that is taking us out of alignment that seriously. Okay? So, what are some things that we can fast from, y'all? What are some things that we can fast from? What are some things we can fast from? TV, people, social media, sex, food, late night eating. Social media is a big one for folks. Okay, so ways to fast. You can fast from foods or certain types of foods. Remember, these people are such tricksters. They are such tempters, y'all, that they call it fast food. You realize that they call it fast food? And it is the thing that you should not be. It is not the thing you should be eating. Okay, sugar, salt, meat. Okay, fast from drinks like soda, alcohol, coffee, television, speech. You can fast from talking. Okay, some of y'all just be running your mouth, don't listen to nobody. Some of y'all could just just zip it up for 24 hours. Okay, gossip, alcohol, money making or work. Okay, remember, we don't work for money. Some of the best things, some of you who are having lack with money right now or experiencing lack with money, you can actually fast from making money. And I'm not saying this in a lazy way, but this is a way of actually standing in your power. Last week we talked about if you say no to money, that is actually one of the most powerful things that you can do, because then you put money in its place. You know that you will not trade your life energy, your life force, or your time, okay, which is the vehicle through which your life force is used through, for just money. Okay, you can fast from sex, from pornography, negativity. You can fast from cursing, fast from online shopping. There are many different ways for you to fast. Okay, now there's also many different timelines for fasting. Some people, you may, once you are, we only fast when what, y'all? What did I say earlier? We only fast when what? We only fast when we were led by spirit. Okay, now, when you feel led by spirit, you want to talk to spirit and ask, how long? Okay? In what way? It could be 24 hours. It could be 3 days. It could be 7 days. It could be 40 days. It could be from sun up to sundown, right? It could be on weekdays. It could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You need to get clear about how you want to fast and how long you want to fast. Okay? Not you want to, that you feel led to. Okay? That you feel led to. Anytime I'm about to make a big decision in life, I typically do a 3 to 5 day fast. I typically do a 3 to 5 day water only fast. All right? Because I want to put all my masters, anything that I've allowed to become a master that may deceive me, may think it has a seat at the table in my decision-making process, I want it to die. And the way you allow something to die is what? Is you stop giving it attention. You stop giving a plant attention, what's going to happen to it? It's going to die. You stop giving alcohol attention and your energy, it will start to die. It'll scream at first, right? This is called withdrawal. It will scream at first. First 2 days, it'll scream at you. But then after a while, it'll start to die. Okay? Stop giving pornography attention. Guess what? It'll start to die. The desire will fade away, and it will no longer have a seat at the table in your high room, in your mind. At the Last Supper, it won't have a seat. Okay? You will be led by the Christ consciousness and the God within you. The disciples, remember, the disciples are not actually characters. They may be characters. Let me not say that. The disciples also represent characteristics. So when we are having the Last Supper in our mind, it means that we are in perfect alignment. We are in perfect alignment, that we are aware of the God within us, the Christ consciousness, and that we discipline all these different aspects of who we are. Who do you think Judas is, y'all? Who do you think Judas is? If Judas was a characteristic, who would Judas be, y'all? If Judas was a characteristic, who would he be? He would be the sellout, the self-sabotager. How many of you have a sellout or self-sabotager inside of you? How many of you have self-sabotaged? That Judas is within each one of us. And what did Judas sell Jesus out for? A bag of coins. And last week, what did we talk about? Many of us have sold our souls. For what? A bag of coins. And then we realize that that bag of coins is not worth it. Just like Judas did. So these characters in the Bible, if you look deeper, okay, if you go beneath the surface, many of them are just characteristics that are within us. And the disciples are actually disciplines that we have to become master over. When we are in our Christ consciousness, we become master over all of these disciplines. Who was it, Peter or Paul? Who denied Jesus 3 times? Who denied Jesus 3 times? Was that Peter or Paul? Peter, right? How many of you denied yourself? How many of you have denied yourself over and over and over? How many of you denied what you truly wanted, what you truly desired, who you truly are? How many of you denied who you truly are? Are y'all seeing this? That the disciples, in many ways, just represent disciplines. These characters represent characteristics that are within ourselves. If you look at the Wizard of Oz, it's the same exact thing, right? What does the scarecrow represent? Being fear within ourselves. What does Tin Man represent? Right? What does the lion represent? Okay? These characters and these stories and these narratives and these archetypes are really representations of and maps and stories of what's actually happening in our own mind. This thing of the devil, good and evil, where does good and evil happen, y'all? It happens up here. And what we've used is this literary technique called personification to now make the devil this red character with spikes and fire, and this angel over here with the white robe and this and that. We personified the things that are happening in our minds so that we can understand them better, so we can try to grasp them better. Okay? So when you read a Bible, remember, there's no such thing as the Bible. There's no such thing as the Bible. You know how many editions and versions there are? Nobody can point to the Bible. Okay? There's a Bible. There's many a Bibles out there. Okay? But when you read that text, I need you to go beyond the surface. All right? So let's keep it pushing. The next thing, the A in the word faith, is to align. So we fast. We put all of our masters that we will let rise to the decision-making executive function, we put them at bay. And now we just want to be in alignment with God. Okay? We just want to be in alignment with God. All right? And we see this over and over with Jesus. He was a great example. What did he say in John 10:30? He said, I and the Father are one. I and the Father are one. Okay? So remember, Jesus throughout the Gospels goes and fluctuates. He goes from I and the Father are one to Father, why have thou forsaken me? So Jesus is on his own journey in the New Testament. Everybody just believes that he just came out the womb and he was just on some spiritual high. In that 3-year period in the Gospels, Jesus is going through his own fluctuations, and you can see it in his own language. I and the Father are one to Father, why have thou forsaken me? Okay? One moment he was one with the Father, and one he was like, what's up with this? Okay? So we are all going on our own journey in the same exact way, all on the journey towards understanding the God within us. Okay? So this is an alignment. Jesus was in alignment here. Then Matthew 6:22, he said the light of the body is the eye, single. If you look at the King James Version, you will see that the word eye is single. It is not plural. Now, when you read it the first time, you're going to say eyes because you're so used to saying eyes. But it said the light of the body is the eye. What eye are we talking about, y'all? What eye is Jesus talking about? The third eye, which is really the first eye, because the third eye was here before your physical eyes existed. It is not the third eye, it is the first eye. This is your second and third eye. Okay? So if the light of the body is the eye, if therefore thine eye be single, meaning in alignment, one with the way God sees, thy whole body shall be full of light. How would you move, y'all? How would you move if you saw you the way God saw you? How would you move if you saw you the way God saw you? What would happen in your experience of life? If you moved in the way that God saw you, be effortlessly, you'd move like a God. You would move with confidence. You would move with full faith. You would move as if you could not fail and that success was destined. You move abundantly. You move freely. So there's an misalignment between how you see you and how God sees you. And to the extent that you can make your eye single with God, meaning that you see you as God sees you, the more powerfully you'll move through this life. If some of you just move through life in the way that your significant other saw you, or that your mama or your daddy saw you, or that your best friend sees you. If you just move through life in the way that the people who truly love you see you, you would be having a richer experience of life. But inside of us, we have these fears, doubts, and worries, self-sabotage, we deny ourselves, etc. And so we're not even moving like the people who love us the most, who see the best in us and see the highest part of us, we're not even moving like the way they see us. Okay? So Matthew 6:9-10 says, so then this is how you should pray. Our Father, right? Key words, our Father, right? Jesus wasn't the only begotten Son. John said that. Jesus didn't say that. Jesus said our Father. He didn't say my Father. He didn't say, pray like this, Jesus's Father who are, no, that's not what he said. He said our Father, meaning that we are siblings. That's just my older brother. Okay? Hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Okay? So we are here to do the will, right? We are trying to be in alignment with the will. Whoops. Excuse me. I don't know why that got cut off. So we are here to be in alignment with the will, right? We talked about this last week. Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but your will be done. I think this is your will be done. Your will be done, okay? This is when we are in alignment. We are getting out of our own worldly desires and needs, okay? We are trusting that the Mother, Father, God is going to provide for us, right? And we are putting the higher will as the priority. This is when we are moving in alignment, okay? We are saying, I submit to the parent company. I submit to the CEO, to the chief executive officer, which is God. And I'm here to do your will. Now, I know you're going to give me freedom in terms of how I do it and things of that nature, but all my focus and energy is on doing your will. This is submitting to say, I just want to be in alignment. I just want to be in alignment. We see this over and over. John 14:10. Don't you believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? This is Jesus. Alignment in this particular scripture, okay? The words I say to you, I do not speak of my own authority. Rather, it is the Father living in me who is doing his works. Of myself, I can do nothing. It is the Father in me that does the works. This is when I'm in alignment. When I'm not in alignment, the Father in me cannot do it the works. I've mentioned this before. If I need to sell from California, no, if I need to sell from New York to Europe, okay, where am I gonna have a better chance of succeeding? When I get a rowboat and a paddle and try to paddle my way over there myself, or when I get a sail and I get aligned with the wind? Which one's going to get me there faster and with more certainty, y'all? When I get a cell and I get in alignment. See, a lot of us are trying to row our way to the desired destination using our own manpower. And some of you have been doing really good, but you're getting really tired and you're getting burnt out because you've been trying to do it on your own. When this other person is just sailing by you because it's tapped into a force that is more powerful than your arms, which is the wind, which is provided by God. So this is what happens when you are in alignment. You can access something that is greater than manpower alone. Okay? This is the power of alignment. And then Jesus said, my food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. Okay? So this is Jesus over and over and over talking about, I just want to be in alignment. Okay? And I know when I'm in alignment that the Father will do it the works through me. Okay? I just want to be in alignment. Use me, God. Kind of like a trumpet. Trumpet just says, you know what? I want to keep my pipes clean and I want you to blow through me so I can make a sweet, sweet sound. I know that I'm not the one who makes the sounds. Okay? It is you and your breath that is coming through me that actually, and it's coming out of through me. Okay? That's how the music gets made. So I just want to be in alignment. I want to be ready to go. I want my pipes to be clean so that you can use me. One of my favorite songs, Ricky Byers back with Use Me. Oh God, I stand for you. And here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Okay? Just want to be used. I just want to be used. And I actually don't want to be filled up. I want to be empty. See, some people are racing to think that the way to win this race in life is to have the most and to fill up the most. No. You know who wins this thing? It's the person who's the most empty. Not empty as in burned out, but empty as in being used. I want to be used. I don't want anything left in this tank when it's my time to go. What are we conserving energy for? What are we conserving money for? What are we saving it for? He who tries to save his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will save it. Okay? So here's the 10-word prayer that I use to get in alignment. It's simple. You can probably memorize it, and this is how it goes. Please guide me, God. Thy will be done. Thank you. Please guide me, God is just basically saying, God, I'm reaching out to you. I don't have the answers. I know that you do, and I'm willing to let go of the steering wheel and let you be my guide. You be my GPS, okay? My God positioning system. Thy will be done. I don't know where we're going, but I'm willing to go wherever you tell me to go. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say and to whom? And then thank you. I'm grateful because I know that whatever path you put me on, I know you know what is best for me, and I know that it's going to be a rich experience, and I'm going to have a huge impact as a result of walking in alignment with your will. This is it. Please guide me, God. Thy will be done. Thank you. Okay? It's us getting out of the way and saying, I trust in this higher power, right? This higher power in me, not up in the clouds somewhere, this higher power in me to actually take the wheel and guide me. Okay? Next is I. I is inquire. Okay? So now that you fasted and released, right? You put all your masters at bay and they've become slaves again, not in a negative, just that you are empowered over them. And now that you're in alignment, now you can ask your question. You can ask, right? When you look at the word inquire, Middle English inquire, later inquire from the old French inquire or query, right? From a variant of the Latin inquire based in I'm not going to say that word anymore because I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Okay. So when you inquire, inquiring is an inner query. It's an inner query. Okay. And when you are Googling something, what are you doing, y'all? You are querying. You are asking. So we're not asking outside of ourselves. This is why I like the word inquire versus ask. Ask typically means I'm asking somebody else for an answer. But here, we are actually inquiring. We are going inside and making a query within ourselves. Does that make sense, y'all? Does that make sense? Okay, so we already know the scriptures. Matthew 7:7-19. Ask and ye shall be, it shall be given. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and him that knocketh shall be open. Or what man is there of you whom if his son ask bread, he will give him a stone? Okay, so all the answers that you need are within you. Now, there may be people like myself who say something that resonates within you, okay? But I didn't give you the answer. The answer was already within you, and I just caused it to resonate, right? If you've ever taken pitchforks and you that are at the same frequency, you hit one and it starts vibrating, it will actually cause the other one to vibrate because they're at the same frequency. So when you feel motivated or inspired by someone who seems like they're outside of you, all they're doing is resonating or getting something within you to resonate that for whatever reason was latent for the moment. They aren't the external source. The resonance was within you. So when something I say moves you, it is not me who you should look to, okay? You should just be thankful that that truth that was already inside of you, you started to feel it and you started to sense the vibration of it. Because now once you have that vibration, it is with you forever. You don't need me anymore. Okay? So ask and it shall be given. Ask and it shall be given. You think God wants you to walk around this earth confused? You think God wants you to walk around this earth confused? No. Your creator, your mother, father wants you to know. It wants you to know, but it can't want you to know more than you want to know. It can't want you to know more than you want to know. So giving its loving nature, it just waits patiently until you come to it to ask. I love it when my daughter asks me some off the wall questions. Daddy, who took care of the first baby on earth? And when these kids, what's that show? Kids say the darndest things. Kids say the darndest things. Man, my daughter be asking me some deep spiritual questions. I'd be like, pause. Okay, who took care of the first baby on earth? Like, how you answer that? But she is asking. She is curious. But I'll tell you this: in church, I tell you not to be curious, because they'll give you sayings like what? Curiosity killed the what? Killed the cat. Curiosity killed the cat. Like, these are the sayings that are in our culture because they want to kill curiosity. No, you killed curiosity. Curiosity didn't kill the cat. Mother, Father, God wants you to stay curious about life, to stay eager. The same thing goes with love, y'all. Let's say you've been in a marriage or dating somebody. You have to stay curious about them. If you want that love to last, you have to stay curious about them. The moment you think you have them figured out, that's when the relationship gets stale and starts to die. You have to stay curious. Yeah, you've been living around them and with them for quite some time. You don't know everything about them. They are changing. Every single day they leave that house. Every single day you leave that house, you come back as a new person. We have to stay curious about each other. Curiosity should be part of our life. This is what it means to be a lifelong learner. But some people have stopped asking questions. You want to know why? Because they think they have all the answers. Some people have stopped asking questions because they think they have all the answers. Once you feel you have all the answers, you're going to be stuck in whatever paradigm you are locked in at. Okay? So you're not open to learning and you're not seeking at that moment in time. Okay? There's a difference, y'all, between seeking and being lost. They will have you thinking that just because you were seeking that you were lost. No, the one who is not seeking is the one who is lost. The one who is not seeking is the one who is lost. They have resorted to believing that they know it all, and they are the one that gets left behind and lost. The one who is seeking is not the one who is lost. The one who is seeking is the one that is found. Okay? So stay curious, y'all. Matthew 21:22, and all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. Here it is. If you truly, genuinely want to know, What is my purpose? Why am I here? What is this all for, God? What do you want me to do? Right? What's my next step? If you ask with sincerity and you trust that the answer is already coming your way, you shall receive it. You shall receive it. Your mother, father, God does not want you to walk in the dark. It does not want you to be blind, which is why Jesus healed the blind. And it does not want you to not hear. This is why Jesus healed the deaf. Okay? But we're not talking about the external eyes or the external ears. We're talking about within. Okay? We're talking about within. The next part of this faith framework, how to have more faith, is thank. Now, most people, what they do is they thank after they've got an answer. That is not how Jesus operates. You ask or you inquire and you thank immediately for the answer before it has come. It's just a shift in sequence, y'all. You inquire, you ask, and you thank immediately because you know that it is already done. What do we say at the end of prayers? Ashe, Amen, and so it is. What does that mean? That it is already done. That it is already done. We've been saying it at the end of prayers all the time. Okay, so we want to know that it is already done, and therefore we are thanking in advance of seeing the material demonstration of it being done. Okay, again, we are thanking in advance of seeing the material demonstration or manifestation of it being done. This actually accelerates the process. This actually accelerates the process. Okay, so Matthew 15:36 says, and he took the 7 loaves and fishes, and what did he do, y'all? He took the 7 loaves and fishes, and what did he do? He gave thanks. Wait a second, they haven't been multiplied yet, but he already gave thanks for what was already there. When you look at the word appreciate, y'all, appreciate means to increase in value, right? Appreciate is also to honor or affirm somebody. When you appreciate something, you increase or expand it. So he took these 7 loaves and these fishes, he appreciated them, both senses of the words, and thus caused them to expand, to be able to feed more, because he appreciated them. Give thanks, break them, and gave to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. Give thanks in advance of the manifestation, y'all. Not after. No, and after. You give thanks before and you give thanks after. Okay? Luke 22:17-19 says, and he took the cup and gave what? Gave thanks. This is before the actual miracle or demonstration or manifestation. And he took the cup and gave thanks. He gave thanks for what was already there and what was to come in advance of seeing the demonstration. And he said, take this and divide it amongst yourselves. Okay? Take this and divide it amongst yourselves. Give thanks right away, right? These are secrets, y'all. These are secrets right here in plain sight. Mark 11:24. What does it say? Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it and it'll be yours. So again, I already referenced that scripture. The trick is to give thanks in advance, not afterwards. Okay? The trick is to give thanks in advance, not afterwards. So I want to show you something. I used to have, I didn't understand tipping. Nobody ever really taught me how tipping actually worked. And I've come to learn how it works as an adult. But there was no formal training. And so I used to think like, these people are getting paid. What am I tipping for? Okay. And so I have an experiment for you, which is to tip the balance towards abundance. I want you to tip the balance towards abundance. Okay. Look at this. How many of you been part of tables like this? How many of you been part of tables like this, where it's 7 people or a $200 bill and then the tip is like $5? How many of you been part of tables? Just be real. Be real if you've been a part of a table or dinner party like this. Okay. Now, Where was your consciousness at that moment in time? Was it in scarcity or was it in abundance? Was it in scarcity or was it in abundance? Anybody who tips like this is probably in a mindset of scarcity. All right? Look at this. Look at this person. I give this person, and this is religious folks. I give God 10%. Why do you get 18%? You hear this? Look at this, y'all. This is despicable. I give God 10%. Why do you get 18%? Zero tip. These religious folks, man, just too rigid. Misunderstanding, taking things literal, okay? So this other challenge is absolutely beautiful. It was called the Tip the Bill Challenge. And the Tip the Bill Challenge is if your bill was $52.95, you also tip $52.95, and that is $105.90. What do you think the mindset of this person is versus this person? This person is in 100% scarcity and certainty. They think they have God figured out, right? This person is in 100% abundance. I bet you that this person to the right is having a greater experience of life than this person over here. This person is having more heaven. This person is having more hell. Okay? So here's my challenge to you, and I just did it yesterday. My challenge to you, I'm going to take it up one level further. I want you, the next time you go to a restaurant, I want you to tip your waiter in advance. I want you to tip your waiter in advance. What do you think is going to happen to your service when you tip the waiter in advance? What kind of service you think you're going to get, y'all? You are going to have a luxury experience because you tipped them in advance. There's no awkward feeling of, I wonder if they're going to tip me. The last group that looked like them didn't tip me. How much are they going to tip me? Oh, I got so many tables that I'm dealing with. All that awkwardness gets taken off the table. Literally, no pun intended. You literally just go tip in advance. You say, I want to have a great experience. And so I'm going to thank you in advance for the experience that we're going to co-create together. We're going to laugh. We're going to joke. I'm going to get free refills. You know what I'm saying? My bread going to be hot. My food going to be here right on time. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to meet the chef. That's the experience that I'm creating. And I'm actually going to tip you in advance to say thank you for that experience right here and right now. Go try it, y'all. Go try it. It's extremely powerful. It is extremely powerful. And the universal principles work the same way. Again, all we're doing is changing the sequence. Most people give thanks afterwards. We're giving thanks in advance. This is how Jesus operated. He appreciated what was right then and there and what was to come. He didn't tip and say thank you if something happened. He actually gave thanks because he knew it was going to happen, and then it unfolded in the way that he manifested it even more. Okay? So the final step of how to have more faith is to hear. Okay? We've fasted, we've got a line, we now asked, we are giving thanks knowing that the answer is coming and that all of our prayers are going to be answered. Now we have to hear. We have to hear. Okay? And when we look at the scripture, this is Matthew 13, 18 through 23. It's kind of long, but I believe that it captures what this step is really all about. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. Jesus, over and over throughout the gospel, says, let those who have ears hear. There's a difference between listening and hearing, y'all. Some people listen to you and it's in one ear and out the other. But to hear means to actually take something to heart. When you look at the word hear, you see that the word hear is in the word heart. You see that the word hear, H-E-A-R, is in the word heart. Heart is just the word hear with a T on it. So when you truly hear something, you take it to heart. This is why Jesus said over and over, let those who have ears hear. Okay? So hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then come the wicked one and catcheth away that which was sown into his heart. Okay, not into his ears, into his heart. This is he which received the seed by the wayside. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with it the joy to receive it. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth, excuse me, for a while. When tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, okay. So a lot of people call the Bible the word. Jesus is using the word in the Bible. So how could the Bible be the word if Jesus used the word in the Bible? Okay. Catch that if you can. By and by, he is offended. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of his world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and becometh unfruitful. But he that receiveth the seed into the good ground, what is the good ground, y'all? What is the good ground? What is the good ground, y'all? Thank you. Our mental soil, our mindset. Okay. Seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also here beareth fruit and bringeth forth some and 100-fold, and some 60, and some 30. So this is the importance of the last step, which is hearing. Because when we truly hear what we are meant to do, what is next for us, right? In a moment of uncertainty where we need to have faith and we hear, we know that when we walk in alignment with what we hear, that it's going to bear fruit 30, 60, 100-fold. But if we let the riches of the world, right? If we let deceitfulness, right? If we let trial and tribulation, or we let our own hard-headedness, which is the stony rock, not allow us to receive that which we have asked for, then we are going to struggle. Okay? Now, God never gives up on us. God is a loving, loving entity. It does not give up on us, and it'll find different ways to try to get us that message. But you realize that any pain that you're experiencing in the world is only to move you towards pleasure. The pain or the failures or anything that you're experiencing is only there to actually redirect you towards more pleasure, towards heaven. It is not a negative thing. It is actually a good thing. If you are hitting your head up against the wall, if you feel stuck, then that's a good thing. All it is information. Pain is saying, oh, oops, you're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way. That's all it is. And if you receive it as such, then you just turn 180 degrees and go the opposite direction, because likely that's going to be the right way to go. Right? So I want to bring heaven down to earth, right? We don't want to keep these teachings in the clouds. So we always bring them down to earth, okay? So I want you to fill this out with me. This is a template that I created for you, and we're going to do it right now. So I am fasting from blank. I am fasting from blank. What is it that you're fasting from? We mentioned many of them earlier. What are you fasting from? And you do not, if you do not feel led, then you do not have to do this, okay? Only if you feel led. Social media. That's a good one. Television, food, all right? And the next step, junk food, okay? To hear God's truth about my next steps regarding what? What is it that you want to get clarity on in terms of the next step in your life? Is it professional? Is it personal? Is it a relationship? Is it money? Is it a big decision? Is it moving? Is it health? Is it about a parent? So Keisha says professional, okay? What area of your life do you want to hear God's truth about? Gwen says moving. Joe says health. Feline says professional. Clamard, moving, professional, financial, okay? Now, the next step is, above all, I just want to be in alignment with the will, okay? My question is, so now what is your question to God? What is your question to the God within you? My question is what? So I'm fasting from social media to hear God's truth about my professional life. Above all, I just want to be in alignment with the will. My question is what? What's your specific question? What is your specific question? How should I move forward? Where do I begin? What needs to be done before I move? What is next for me? Okay. I will create space to hear you by, how will you create space to make sure that you hear God? You're not going to hear God just ripping and running. Stillness. Be still and know that I am God. Morning meditation, 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 meditation. Okay. That seems to be the go-to. Another good one is journaling. Okay. Another good one is coaching or therapist, getting quiet, morning jog. Okay. Vision board. Right. And then I give thanks in advance for your answer. Okay. So take a screenshot of this and I'll just make up one based on what you all said. I'm fasting from social media to hear God's truth about my next steps regarding my professional life. Above all, I just want to be in alignment with the will. My question is, where should I go next? I will create space to hear you by meditating every morning, and I give thanks in advance for your answer. That is bringing heaven down to earth. That is bringing this teaching down to earth so that you can apply it into your life right here and right now. Okay? Whew. So this is our affirmation for today. Our affirmation. I'll read it the first time and then you can read it with me the second time. I am faithful. I am faithful. I know that my mother, Father God knows and wants what is best for me. I simply want to be in alignment with God's will for my life. I give thanks in advance, knowing that every answer to every prayer is already on its way. As a child of God, I know God's voice. I have ears to hear, and I will take what I hear to heart. I don't have to fake it until I make it. All I have to do is be who I am and know whose I am. I use my third eye, the single eye, my inner eye, to see the truth. For faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Ashe, amen, and so it is. Okay? So I want you to read it with me this time. 1, 2, 3. I am faithful. I know that my mother, Father God, knows and wants what is best for me. I simply want to be in alignment with God's will for my life. I give thanks in advance, knowing that every answer to every prayer is already on its way. As a child of God, I know God's voice. I have ears to hear, and I will take what I hear to heart. I don't have to fake it until I make it. All I have to do is be who I am and know whose I am. I use my third eye, single eye, inner eye to see the truth. For faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Ashe, amen, and so it is. Woo! What was your greatest takeaway from that particular teaching, y'all? And we'll shift over into giving. What was your takeaway from this teaching? Whew, that felt good. Ashe. Be faithful. Give thanks first. Yes. Not to be uncertain. Gratitude first. Thank before me and after. Thy will be done. Anything you can say, anything you can't say no to is your master. Keep faith in it. Be thankful first. Those not learning or losing, be still. Do you see yourself like God sees you? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Those are great lessons. So with that, we're going to move into our giving. We give differently here at the Financial Church. This is not giving for my private jet. It is not giving for my foreign car, even though y'all know I got a foreign car, right? My foreign car is a Honda Accord. That's my foreign car, y'all. This is not for me. I take no financial contributions from this particular space. This is purely a spiritual gift to the world for me. This is actually one of my ways of tithing. Okay, so I don't take anything financially from this particular space. I dedicate about 1 day, I dedicate about 8 hours per week to getting ready for this space and then obviously teaching you here. So this is one of my ways of tithing and giving freely. Again, this is not for my private jet. It's not for a building fund or my foreign car. We believe that anything that a church receives should go out back to the people who need it the most at this moment in time, not to be saved up as an endowment or anything like that. So what we do here is we receive funds, and then we find 4 nonprofits to give those funds out to within 72 hours. Within 72 hours, I usually have it out within 48 hours, but just to have some breathing room. And so we believe that giving is a spiritual practice. And when we give, just like we give to that waiter, right? When we give, we are actually demonstrating the abundance that we have. If you don't feel you have anything to give, not even $1, then you're probably in a mindset of scarcity. And so we're just trying to get you out of that mindset of scarcity by showing you that you do have something to give. So the Cash App is Julian Gordon, the Venmo is Julian Gordon, and the PayPal is Julian Gordon, 2 L's, IEN, Gordon, Gordon. And right now our account balance is $3,019. And I will show you our exact accounting. We believe in 100% transparency here at the Financial Church. So I'm literally going to show you every transaction that we've made. This is nothing in hiding here. And we believe that this is how everybody should operate, but for many spiritual spaces don't. So I'm about to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to show you our actual account balance in every transaction. If you've contributed before, you will see your transactions here, right? So we've been doing this since April. We've been doing this since April 12th of this year. And so far this year, we've given out $11,002. We've given out $11,002. All the greens are the organizations that we've given out to. And you can see we've had we've had 603 contributions to the Faith Fund since that time, and our current balance is $3,018. Our current balance is $3,018, and right now, as those funds come in, I'm going to. Last week we actually gave out $1,250. Normally we give out about $800 a week. So right now I'm going to take recommendations for nonprofit organizations, and I will get those funds dispersed by Tuesday of this week. All right. I will, if you're on if you're on Instagram, again, the Cash App is my name, $ my name. My name is the same there, or Venmo. Okay. And again, this money is not going to me. It is going directly back to creating more good and more God in this world. So we are going to contribute it to 4 nonprofits. So let me see, nonprofit recommendations, Life Work, I Am Treasure, Life Beauty Box Inc., Life Works Austin. I think we did them already. I'll double check. Houston Black Psychologist, and then Lib Radio. All right, and then Kids, and then URLs, y'all, URLs, and we try to get the organizations, the smaller organizations that get overlooked. Okay, of course, there's a Red Cross, UNICEF, things of that nature. We try to, and I'm not saying that they're not doing great work. A lot of them have significant overhead, and a lot of the money does not get to the actual people that they're meant to serve. So we are trying to support the smaller organizations, the grassroots organizations that actually may have some scarcity. And we want to bless them and show them that they're doing good work, and that they are going to attract everything that they need because they are doing good work. So I have several organizations here. I will get those funds out between now and Tuesday. I thank you all for your contributions. I see them coming in. This is just beautiful, is that the Faith Fund keeps on growing and expanding, which is actually allows us to give more. When we first started out in April, we were giving out $300 a month, $300 a month. We see 300 right here. And now 2 weeks ago, we gave away $1,500. And this past week, we gave away $1,500 because we got a $1,000 contribution and a $900 contribution that particular week. But again, here we do not care about the size of the contribution. We just want everybody to participate. We want everybody to get in the habit of giving. The size doesn't matter. If you give what feels good to you. Okay, we don't look at dollar amounts. Of course, I have to do this to track and monitor, but the name is less significant. We know that you are already getting your return through the energy and the abundance that you feel by being able to give at the level that you desire to give at. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here on The Financial Church every Sunday. I do not have next week's teaching, so I do ask that you pray. I do ask that you pray for me to get clarity and get the divine download for next week's teaching. That would be really, really helpful. With that, we will be signing off. The replay will be up later on tomorrow. It'll be on tomorrow at thefinancialchurch.com. The replay will be up at thefinancialchurch.com tomorrow. You can find every replay there. Our last series was on About My Father's Business, how to find your purpose and passion and do God's work. So thank you again for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. I wish you the best, and go out there tonight or tomorrow and tip that waiter in advance and let me know how it goes. All right. Before you sign off, y'all, I would like to know as I sit still and wait for these divine downloads, what have you been struggling with in terms of the teachings? What have you been struggling with? What would you like to hear me talk about? That would be really, really helpful to me to know what it is, where you feel like you're struggling, where do you feel blocked? Because I would like to get specific divine downloads to help you get unblocked and unstuck there. So what would you like me to teach on? See, loving patience, loving yourself, procrastination, 12 disciplines, 12 disciplines. All right. Inner voice. Well, today was really about getting in tune with that inner voice and hearing it. That inner voice is the God within you. Implementing these truths, focusing, hearing God. That was today. The law of gestation. I don't know that one. Law of gestation. Turning off negative inner voice, the devil inside of you, not outside of you. Execution. So a lot of execution. Acting in love versus fear. More on faith. Knowing your worth. Well, that was about my father's business, was about knowing your worth. Knowing your worth. Trusting self, being still, God and mental health. Again, application and execution. How do you know if you're hearing from God? How to know if you're hearing from God? Fasting, more on fasting. All right. I don't know what you mean by that, Gwen. Fear. Okay. And then anything particular in terms of financial manifestation? Anything in particular in terms of financial manifestation? I know this is all connected. It's all part of your currency or your own internal rate of return, but anything regarding financial manifestation, what exactly? Where do you feel blocked in terms of money and financial spirituality? What beliefs have you stuck? What thought patterns? What behaviors? All right. Not being led by money. Seeing opportunity. Fear of letting my money work. Fear of letting my money work. Financial discipline, business planning, lack of confidence, receiving skill set, teaching the children, Okay, how to save without holding on too long, without over saving. Managing small amounts. We're not gonna get into managing small amounts. No, but you do have to manage what you have in order for it to expand. So that actually is correct. Manage small amounts of money to manage large amounts. That's exactly correct. The better steward you are of small amounts, the more that will come your way. Temptation. You talking about credit cards? Talking about Amazon? Amazon temptation, y'all. Focusing on fortitude and fear. Focus and fortitude against fear projected on you. Projection by others. Sabotaging my finances. All right. This is helpful, y'all. I will pray on these. I'll pray on these and see which one rises to the top as the next message. Again, I thank you all for being here. The replay will be up on thefinancialchurch.com. I wish you all a very happy Sunday. Much love, y'all. Peace.